I wake one morning the way you see me now, with a beard. But you wouldn't know that. You don't know me. The night before, I went to bed without a beard, and in the morning, I wake like this. You can see my problem, can't you? This hirsute visage is not one I would choose willingly for myself. Never. I do not like hair. Not on my head, not on my chest, and not on my face. I shave daily. It is a ritual I look forward to, and one that prepares me well for the day ahead. I cannot remember a morning when I have not shaved. Even when sick, I will make the effort. To shave is to be alive and in control of myself. Each hair that pokes through the skin tells me I'm here. But if I do not cut it where it stands, I am asking it to colonize my body. And to let it colonize my body is to give up and admit that I have no control over it, and what it does, and what it seeks to make me. Well, this is not life. This is not living. It is surrendering, and I will not surrender. A beard is not for me, but I do not dislike it on others. What they do is their business, and their business only. If properly cultivated, the beard does not control, but rather the beard itself is controlled. If I think of it this way, it is perhaps agreeable and could even be considered a work of art. But this thing that I have growing on me is not like that. This is disturbing. This is out of my control. This is a sign. Is it any wonder I'm now being held to account? My paternal ship is moving towards a shore it will never again set sail from. And I, like a broken rudder, am unable to offer direction. But what am I to do? The storm clouds are gathering, and it is now necessary to seek shelter. But what good is shelter if the open water is something never to be experienced again? As I seek to avoid my time in the wheelhouse, nature has chosen to slap me for my arrogance. But again, as I said earlier, you do not know me, and you would not, therefore, know of my arrogance, nor understand such talk of ships and shelter. So let me tell you what I have done. My father, the man from whom I sprang forth, now draws near the end of his journey. And I fear, with my actions to ensure his safety, I am somehow readying his ship for its final voyage. My father, the man whose early life saw him endure the bombings of London, the deprivation of war, rejection by his own father, is now being told his time is almost up. But not directly, not honestly, not by the doctors, and not by me. I hide behind the doctors and their prognosis until the only thing I have left is a home. Not my home, a nursing home. Symptoms progress, the strokes grow more frequent, and Dad knows something is up. Every time he asks me about dying, I lie. I say, everything is fine. But everything is not fine. Dad knows it, and I know it. But what's worse is knowing he understands what is happening, and that I'm lying to him, and I can't come out and say it. But what can I say? That I know he's dying? That I put him here, in this place, in the hope that he'll be comfortable? But what am I really doing? Do I hope he'll be happy in this home? Happiness doesn't come into it. Not even close. I put Dad here because I can't visit him anymore. The truth is, I don't want to. I don't want to visit him, and I don't want to live with him. So I fall back on reasons, which are also known as excuses. If he tries to take his motorised scooter to the local cafe, falls and breaks his hip, that'll be the end of him. Old people don't come back from injuries like that. They go to hospital and die not long after. But which is better? A short, sharp ending, or a long, drawn-out slide into oblivion? I put Dad here because he isn't quite dead yet. He can't walk and isn't in control of his own bowel movements. Christ, he can't even drink lemonade. All his liquids have to be mixed with a thickener so he doesn't aspirate into his lungs and contract pneumonia. Imagine that. The only thing you have left and you can't even enjoy it. Now, my own body is revolting against my cowardice, refusing to let me get away with denying the truth of the situation. My lies are turning on me, branding me for all the world, my father, to see. This beard is evidence of my shame, my mark of Cain. I shave, and instantly it grows back, thicker and stronger than before. This man who loves me, raised me, and taught me to swim is now drowning in my sea of lies. My father often speaks of horses. He loves them. The only ornament he brought with him to this place is a collection of ceramic horses. They live on the shelf in his room where he can see them, from the bed, the chair, and even the toilet. I didn't believe him about the horses, not at first, but then they came. They started to run around dusk, just as the rain set in and the wind began to shift from the river opposite. A deep, low rumble signalled their presence. They came in through the room, crashing into the closet and the wardrobe just by the door. I tried to open the courtyard door, but I wasn't quick enough. I pressed the call button several times in an effort to warn the nurses, but nobody came. They never do. And it didn't seem to matter anyway. The horses just burst out through the courtyard door and across the road into the fresh air. Can't say I really blame them. Well, who wouldn't want to be outside, free to roam around as you please? I looked across at Dad. He wasn't afraid. He was quiet and still and vindicated. He'd been telling me about the horses for a while, but I hadn't wanted to believe him. I mean, I had my own problems with my seemingly supernatural beard. There was a pause before Dad said, "I told you." And then he rolled over and went to sleep. I will never be as much of a man as my father. About this, I'm sure. Safely ensconced on his foredeck, I've set sail on oceans deep. He may have begun his life here in Australia as a 10-pound pom, but his worth to me and to my mum and to all who know him is far greater than that. So how am I supposed to have the conversations I need to have with him when he's lying in the emergency department after yet another stroke, barely lucid enough to remember what day it is, and they turn to me? Do I have the right to answer for him? These are not mere questions. They slice swiftly like a surgeon's knife through layers of skin and fat to the heart of the matter. Does your father wish to be resuscitated? Meaning, shall we let him die? Or read yet another way, do you want to let him die? And I don't want to answer that. And that just makes me a coward. But of course I must answer. Me, his son, must make that decision, not some overworked registrar who doesn't even know his name. But I'm still having a hard enough time dealing with the decisions I've already made. Decisions with consequences I see every time I visit him in this place. The decision to move him out of his home, so that now this man who only ever wanted to belong is taken out of his home by his own son. I know what you're thinking. But I should just be honest with him. Just answer his questions truthfully. And he must know by now, I don't find this easy. But eventually, the necessary gumption arrives. One day, one rainy day, I take a deep breath. You've had several strokes, and the scans indicate you will not be able to walk again. Nor will you be able to drink liquids normally. There is a very real risk of you contracting pneumonia and not recovering. There is a pause. My father takes all this in before I say, I'm sorry. And yet another pause as he shifts to a more comfortable position before speaking. Don't be sorry, just be glad you're living. I must have heard this phrase dozens of times growing up. It is always my father's go-to phrase for moments when words either don't seem enough or aren't able to come easily. No matter what the situation, it always assumes an air of levity, but not now. Telling my father the truth has provided momentary respite from the infection inside me, but I know this feeling is only fleeting. I await my next and final task. I can thank my father for giving me the strength and focus and energy to face this most important of moments. The moment when our understanding ceases to exist and our hopes, beliefs and dreams take over. Even with his diminishing physical capabilities, my father's guidance and wisdom are evident. My beard continues to lengthen and my thoughts turn to water. We are close to the final journey. And I am resolved. After that, things move incredibly quickly. Those of you who have seen death know of the blur and paradoxical calm. First come the dull thump of hooves, then a maniacal snorting, followed shortly by twisting and turning through the corridors. I know this is different. I know Dad needs to go now, and I know I have to be the one to do it. I rush into his room to find Dad sitting on the end of the bed waiting. He smiles as I put my arm around him and we hurry out through the courtyard door and across the road to the jetty. I can hear the horses. They aren't far behind, perhaps in my father's room. And then I hear it, the sound of smashing ceramic, the horses eating the horses on my father's mantelpiece. I pick up pace, and remarkably, so does Dad. We have to make it to the boat before the horses get to us. We both understand this. There's no need for words, and we both know it to be true. I look over and I feel the horses. They're gaining. But we pick up pace. I won't give in, and neither will Dad. As I heave him into the boat, I notice my beard is longer and my clothes are torn to shreds. The horses are getting closer. I pick up the oar, cast off into the roiling river. I row. We float. And the shore recedes. My father smiles, places a coin in my hand, and goes to sleep. A deep sleep. I understand. The beard I will keep.